7 countries that love Americans and want them to move there. Good morning and welcome to our Retire Early lifestyle. When doing our research for this video, we noticed a lot of people from various countries hold stereotypical views of Americans. Many of these countries are those that are heavily promoted over and over again. We all know which ones those are. Take a look. The stereotypes I heard the most about Americans were they're too direct, too pushy, too loud, and they have a mind of their own, etc., etc. By the way, who said that having a mind of your own isn't a good thing? Some people, when they hear the word America, think Hollywood movies, fast food, country music, hip-hop, rich people, car culture, etc., etc. Go figure. So funny, isn't it? This is why we find that most people are misinformed about the people of other countries. So, to turn the tables, Americans were asked what they think about Brits, and here is what they said.
So when you think about Britain and British culture,
fish and chips, pubs, tea and crumpets, and bad teeth, sorry. Guinness.
Fish and chips, pubs, tea and crumpets, too formal, bad teeth, and too indirect. But we know there is a deeper Brit underneath these stereotypes, just like there is more to know about Americans than being too loud or too direct in fast food restaurants, right? The countries we listed today are countries that have mostly positive views about Americans overall. They want Americans to move to their country. So let's get started. Here are the 7 countries that want Americans to move there. Number 7, UK. Ipsos polling data found that Americans are liked by more people in Britain than at any time in the past 3 decades. But the poll was dated from 20 years ago. So what has changed from 20 years ago? Overall, Brits see Americans as friendly and open-minded people, and since both countries speak the same language, it will be very easy to make new friendships. Half of the people in England that were polled about Americans said they think they could learn from Americans. So putting aside some of the stereotypes that people seem to share about Americans, like fast food, torn blue jeans, and flip-flops, the Brits generally want Americans in their country. I think England would be a good fit for Americans because they probably have more in common than most people think. That's just our opinion, so come on down to the UK. Number 6, New Zealand. In the summer of 2023, an economic development group in Wellington, New Zealand was trying to recruit Americans to go there with career opportunities in many fields of expertise, offering over 3,500 jobs to Americans. 200 of those positions paid over 200,000 New Zealand dollars, which is the equivalent of 120,000 US dollars. That was 7 months ago, and they are still seeking American workers right now. That's why we listed it in our top 7 countries. They still have about 3,000 career jobs waiting for Americans to fill. The Kiwis call it a better work-life balance because they are more laid back and relaxed in their work life. That's what they say anyway. If you're wondering what type of work is available, we'll leave the link in the description box of this video. New Zealand has some of the most gorgeous countrywide scenery we've ever seen, too. We'd love to go adventure and explore the beautiful country one day. Number 5, Australia. Putting aside the stereotypes that some Australians say they have about Americans, overall the general view is a positive one. Australia has been influenced greatly by the American culture because they love everything about American culture, from American fashions to the culinary delights of fast food restaurants popping up all over in Aussie land. Yes, fast food is one of the stereotypes that people liken Americans to. So it would go without saying they love the American people and welcome them with open arms to the land of koala bears. Oops, did I just stereotype? Number 4, Mexico. Of course, Mexicans love Americans. What some of the locals don't like is when foreigners come here in droves and start renting apartments and homes at a much greater price than what their wages can afford, and they get displaced from the cities where they work and make their living. I'm referring to Mexico City, San Miguel de Allende, and Lake Chapala, and others, all of which have seen the devastation of what gentrification can do. And knowing just a little bit of Spanish goes a long way when searching for a local price rental in Mexico. But putting that aside, Mexico is a huge country. And if Americans would start going just a little bit off the beaten path, it would create a nice balance for Mexico. In general, Mexicans want Americans to move here because they do contribute to the economy. In fact, the monies that tourism brings into many parts of Mexico is their main source of overall revenue. And Mexico did very well during the lockdown of 2020, as you can imagine. We just have to remember there is a big difference between residency and tourism, okay? One means you seek out the local rates, and the other is staying in hotels and Airbnbs, which distinguish the two economies. We've lived in Mexico for 3 years now and have yet to find a local Mexican that has treated us in a negative light. It just doesn't happen here. Discrimination has been rare in our experience, but we know it happens more often in the more heavily gentrified areas such as Mexico City. That's because Mexico has a laid-back, carefree lifestyle. They know their country is great, and so why wouldn't Americans want to move here? Mexicans are kind, warm, and welcoming people, and they especially appreciate the retirees that come here with their pensions and enjoy living in their wonderful country so much. Mexico has the most Americans living here than any other country in the world. Number 3, Ecuador. The country loves everything about USA. Ecuador and Mexico are the only two countries on the Retire Abroad media list year after year after year that are still inviting Americans to move to their country. They welcome tourists with open arms, but they especially like the older retirees, and here is how we know this to be true. Because they only offer citizenship without having to pass the very difficult citizenship test to the retired folks. So they prefer the retiree to actually reside in their country permanently and get citizenship. Visa costs have gone up in Ecuador, but whose hasn't? Many foreign countries have raised their thresholds on how much income you have to show and just the cost of the visa application in general. After having lived in Ecuador for 8 years, we know that for the most part, Ecuadorians adore having American expats in their country. Sure, there are a few stereotypes of Americans, such as they wear flip-flops and short shorts in 60-degree weather in the Andes. Yes, younger Americans do that. We've seen it with our own eyes, but to each his own. And that's not really a negative view, it's just different. At this time, Ecuador is seeing a huge uptick in crime, and so we do not recommend people move anywhere in Ecuador right now, with maybe the exception of Cuenca, which has also seen a rise in crime. We just hope and pray that one day they will get their crime problem eradicated for its own citizens' sake. Just a word of warning beforehand, so you'll know, Andes people are slightly standoffish until they get to know you and know they can trust you. Even the younger generation is like this, so beware. It's not anything against you personally. They're just cautious people, as they should be. Once they get to know you, Ecuadorians are gracious, warm people who will invite you into their home for a meal and conversation. It is a Spanish-speaking country, and knowing just a little bit of Spanish will get you better prices, long-lasting friendships, and an overall way better experience. Number 2, Philippines. Filipinos really like Americans, and because they speak English, Americans actually get along well with the people there. Americans can easily learn about the culture and form lasting friendships with the locals, and they do. A lot of Filipinas are married to American men. The great thing about the Philippines is you don't have to fuss with learning a new language, as almost everyone speaks English. Americans have been flocking to the Philippines for decades, many of whom work as vloggers and influencers on their YouTube channel. However, new tax laws have made some of the social media influencers flee, but there are still some sticking it out because they get a lot of views. Prices have shot up in the Philippines because it's a major tourist and expat hub for foreigners. But going outside of the major spots where everyone goes is still very affordable. There are currently more than 64,000 foreign retirees living in the Philippines, and we know why. Great weather, great prices, and great people. They do have a special visa for Americans called the Special Resident Retirees Visa, the SRRV. It's for people age 50 years old or older. It seems pretty straightforward and easy to get. The only hitch is they do ask for a $10,000 deposit, but you only have to show $800 a month for a single person or $1,000 for a couple. And last but not least, our last one on our list, number 1, Ireland. The Irish love Americans. They think Americans are very talkative and ready to meet new people, and also very generous and all around pleasant people to be around. Again, we have a country that loves Americans, and obviously they speak English as their official first language. When doing the research for this video, I had a difficult time finding any videos, articles, or reports that put Americans in a negative way with the Irish. Bless their heart, and is why I named Ireland number 1 on our list today. The videos are so cute of the Irish and how they affectionately talk about Americans. I love their Irish accents.
And I love the way they talk different. Like, well, we would be, they put the rubbish out, where you put the trash out. I love to hear the way that they talk. It's like what we would call a nappy, change the child's nappy, where you change the diaper. You know, and I just love the way that they speak like that there. And with soda, we call it juice. You just call it pop. Juice? We call it juice, and you just call it soda pop. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So that's what I love about it. I love to hear the way they talk. Hi, this is Maggie here in Dublin. You'll have to come over to from America to Dublin. It is a fantastic place, and you're more than welcome.
I hope you enjoy these clips as much as we did. We would love to check out Ireland one day. It's a beautiful country and the people are so nice. Well, that's it for the top countries where they like and welcome Americans. Did you notice that 5 out of 7 of the countries we mentioned speak English as the official language? And that is why these countries have a connection with America and her people, because they both understand each other's cultures and actually influence one another in positive and powerful ways. Till next video, take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.